Hello, welcome to Pursuit of Perfect System. I hope you are all well, staying home and staying safe. About a week ago, I created a video about a case of goodies. And really that video was my way to speak to you, to suggest to you to take advantage of the many different home demonstration offers that are out there at the moment from different manufacturers and different hi-fi dealers. Really, I think to try and turn a negative of this lockdown period into a positive to have some fun really and look to upgrade your hi-fi system or your AV or home cinema system. And in that video, I showed you a box full of Quadraspire QPLUS hi-fi supports. I'm very excited by these Quadraspire QPLUS hi-fi supports because they literally offer you a hi-fi rack in the palm of your hands, and I think the applications of this are very wide-reaching, and I'll discuss that and cover that more in a minute. Quadraspire are a British hi-fi manufacturer that was set up in 1995 by Eddie Spruitt. Eddie noticed that placing his hi-fi components on different surfaces or different things would affect how they sounded. And he then designed the Q4 HiFi Rack, which is still being sold around the world today, and I have one. Quadraspire now make several different hi-fi racks plus a range of accessories, and these are all designed and manufactured here in the UK. Quadraspire have a factory just outside of Bath. The hi-fi racks Quadraspire manufacturer are all designed to reduce resonance, to improve the sound of a hi-fi system by giving a clearer and cleaner, better overall musical performance. The shelves in their racks, you will see they all used curved edges to avoid parallel lines, and the shelves have grooves or slots in them to lower mass. Quadraspire prefer to use 5-layer bamboo as the material for the shelves because it has good natural vibration suppressing properties, and because it's carbon neutral. Bamboo is the fastest growing plant on the planet. I didn't know that. It's really very interesting. Quadraspire use aluminium for the column materials, and also they use bronze on their flagship rack, the X Reference, and on some other upgrades. The Quadraspire X Reference rack, you've probably seen it in other videos that I've created and I've heard it a lot. It is a pretty special hi-fi rack. With all that company information and blurb out of the way, let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever home demonstrated something like an amplifier or speakers or a DAC or cables, I don't know, a power conditioner or a streamer? I'm hoping all of you, everybody, but how many of you have ever home demonstrated a hi-fi rack? I know I never have, because the practical terms are just really very difficult. So I would assume not many of you have either. And I wonder how many of you even consider their hi-fi rack to be part of the system, a fundamental or key part of the system, the same as an amplifier or a DAC. On that front, I would suggest there are two different camps of audiophiles. There is one camp of audiophiles that will buy a dedicated hi-fi or AV rack for their hi-fi or their AV system, and they've probably chosen that rack because of maybe reviews they've read or watched, probably because they like the look of it and it fits into their decor of their home or their listening room situation, or because they want to improve the sound quality of their hi-fi or AV system. Then I would say there's probably a second camp of audiophiles that, instead of buying a dedicated hi-fi rack, have chosen to install their equipment into some type of furniture, whether it be, you know, Calyx-Fi, something from John Darko, or a nice piece of TV or AV, or just nice general furniture. And obviously both camps are absolutely fine. You know, you do what suits you for your own personal space. But what I would say is that probably covers pretty much all audiophiles. And for all audiophiles, the Quadraspire QPLUS makes sense. These should be of interest to literally everybody. And that is because, in a way, the Quadraspire QPLUS are what we would class as atypical or stereotypical isolation products that are designed to isolate hi-fi components or AV components and prevent vibration moving into them. That's one, but the bit that makes them appealing to everybody is the fact that they are designed to be a replacement to a HiFi rack. So for those people or audiophiles that have furniture, then this is the way of building into that furniture the benefits that you would get from using a HiFi rack, and that makes them very cool. And there are 3 different performance levels in the range, with each of them designed to mimic one of the Quadraspire HiFi Racks. There is the QPLUS Evo, which 90% mimics the Q4 Evo rack. Now these retail for £120 for a set of 4, and these are real crackers for that money. Now they feature 2 bamboo discs with grooves cut into them. They have a phosphor bronze nut and bolt through the center and an aluminium outer ring. Next in the QPLUS range is the QPLUS Advanced, which is designed to 90% mimic Quadraspires SVT rack. The QPLUS Advanced has an aluminium outer which is nicely engraved, 2 bamboo discs with grooves and a center hole, phosphor bronze and brass bolts that have been set to a specific torque, and they retail for £300 for a set of 4. Last and certainly not least in the QPLUS range is the QPLUS Reference, which is designed to give about 75% of Quadraspires X reference rack. The QPLUS Advanced has a much heavier phosphor bronze outer, and again 2 bamboo discs with grooves and a center hole, phosphor bronze and aluminium bolts set to a specific torque, and they retail at £900 for a set of 4. All 3 sets of Quadraspire QPLUS have been designed to take into account 3 things: material, pressure and shape. Now I'm sure at this point you would probably expect me to say here is an A/B demonstration between all of these 3 different products. Now for once my life's made easier because I actually don't have to, do I? Because this case, this Quadraspire QPLUS home loan case, can be shipped to you and you can do the A/B testing to find out for yourself. But what are we actually testing here? What are we finding out? Now this is the bit that I think is really very interesting, because as I mentioned, the Quadraspire QPLUS are designed to act as what we'd expect from an atypical vibration or isolation type of product. So you place your hi-fi kit on top of them and they stop vibration moving into them. But the bit that's really very exciting, because they very closely mimic the performance of the 3 different hi-fi racks that Quadraspire make, you can essentially home demonstrate a hi-fi rack. And I think the second thing that's interesting about these QPLUS is for all of those who are not interested in having a hi-fi rack, they want to use different types of furniture, well, you can get a large percentage of the benefits of a hi-fi rack from a product that is really very small, really very nice, really very affordable, and I think looks nice and very stylish underneath hi-fi components. Compared to other hi-fi isolation products, the QPLUS are really very easy to use. Now, to install them, you literally place your hi-fi component on top of them like you would as if you was placing a hi-fi component onto a rack. So you literally place the product down using the existing feet that are on the component, and you sit them down on top of the 4 individual QPLUS feet. But what are my thoughts and feelings towards the Quadraspire QPLUS? Well, as I've mentioned throughout the video, I think they are a very interesting product, and I like the wide ranging applications that they have. They are that little bit different to other hi-fi isolation products in that regard. The fact they mimic hi-fi racks and that you can use them to demo hi-fi racks, I think that is extremely cool and so useful for a lot of audiophiles to make sure your money is best invested or best spent. But in terms of them as a product, in terms of the benefits that they bring to a hi-fi system, I think they bring exactly what Quadraspire claim: a clearer, a cleaner And for me, the most important one is a more engaging musical experience or performance from that system. So for my testing, I started with the QPLUS reference, you know, the best ones, the most expensive ones, as you naturally would when you've got the option to try them out. So I've been listening to them underneath the Chord Electronics TToby amplifier as part of the review for the Bonicki W5 speakers. And this is literally me just running those speakers in with a bit of a makeshift system that I've semi-thrown together just to put some hours on them. But as soon as I installed the QPLUS reference isolators of HiFi supports, that system sounded much better. It was just much more engaging and enjoyable to listen to. And I've been sitting in this office listening to quite a lot of music and just enjoying it, really enjoying it. In fact, the QPLUS reference make a big impact, cleaner, clearer. I think the most important one is kind of depth. You get pulled into the music more, the soundstage is clearer and things are opened up, so the sound is just less congested, it's less heavy, it's less hard, it's more relaxed, it's more enjoyable, it's more engaging. The sort of thing that you notice pretty quickly, but you notice more over longer listening sessions. Then it gets really very interesting from there, because choosing between, or talking about the differences between the QPLUS Evo and the QPLUS Advanced, really interesting, because the QPLUS Advanced in this system, or in this setup, being placed underneath the Chord Electronics TToby amplifier, with how I have this system set up at the moment, it definitely helped with the soundstage, definitely helped there, but it also seemed to lift maybe the high frequencies or the upper regions of the sound, which I think unbalanced this system just a little bit. In contrast, going over to the QPLUS Evo, £120 for the set, it didn't really open the soundstage up as much as the QPLUS Advanced, but the sound was definitely clearer, it was definitely cleaner, and more importantly, the balance stayed the same. So even though it wasn't as good as the QPLUS reference, it was still more aligned with that from an overall balance point of view, and that made me enjoy listening to the music that little bit more than with the QPLUS Advanced. So with the QPLUS Advanced, they was better in certain ways, but it just unbalanced this system a little bit. So that was really very an interesting experience, and that really reinforces why this case is really very cool, because without trying that out, I would never have known that, and I might have picked a product purely on looks or purely on budget, and it might not have suited my system. Really, for once, you don't need to take my word for it. You can speak to your local Quadraspire dealer, home loan this case, try these products out for yourself. I think you'll find it fun if nothing else, interesting if nothing else, and really very interesting if nothing else. I'd like to thank Quadraspire for sending me the QPLUS case to make obviously videos about and mess around with and spend some time with. I have enjoyed it, and I'll still be doing some more messing around with them going forward, because they're cool products. I like them a lot, and anything that gives me a cleaner, clearer, more musically engaging experience from a hi-fi system, it's got my attention, and the QPLUS have got my attention. So the next thing will be 3 different demonstration videos, A/B demos, so you can have the next best thing to having a home demo of these for yourself. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been helpful and useful, and I hope you enjoy the next videos to come. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. I'll see you soon. Bye.